welcome back to The Mentors. This is Vadim.
And Sergei.
And this is another segment of our 5-minute pick-me-up where we tell you stories to motivate you for the week to come. So Sergei, earlier this week you were telling me a story about a freshman at NYU that you met who's working on a business, and actually what he's been able to accomplish just in his high school years is pretty incredible. What's his story?
This guy is 17 years old. He is already a freshman at NYU, so he clearly skipped a year or something happened there. He's a bright guy. And he has started a business that, I wouldn't necessarily think it would be a big business or generate a ton of money, but hey, it did. I think he cleared 40 or 50K this year in revenue.
Wow. When did he start this business?
He started this business about a year ago, but it's actually been years in the making, which sounds kind of crazy to say for a high school kid. But he started off, he's been interested in entrepreneurship like a lot of us for a long time. He's been reading TechCrunch, all these different startup publications, and he started off with a simple business that any high schooler can do, which is a simple landscaping business. And he did that for a while, and then he realized he could hire other high school kids to do some of the landscaping work for him, so he didn't have to be there on every single job, and he can sort of scale it a little bit. And it went from that to actually starting to do little odd jobs, little chores. And he actually saw a bigger opportunity there, something that he could scale to something much more massive than his own little small businesses in his own town. And that's how it's worked out so far.
So, okay, talk me through it. Do you know how he stumbled upon the other opportunity, which is doing chores? And did he outsource all of this? Was he doing it himself at that point when he started doing other stuff other than just landscaping?
Yeah, so he already had some kids working for him doing the landscaping stuff, and people were asking for other types of jobs, moving things here or there in the house, doing some chores around the house, typical things that you might need a high school student to do. And he decided to turn this into a business in and of itself and offer those services to people in his town. He started building relationships with teachers in the community, with other high school kids. He would incentivize the kids that worked for him to tell their parents about it. And pretty soon, everyone in his small town knew that he was the guy to go to get chores done, basically.
Interesting. So it sounds like he was doing grassroots marketing, actually building relationships on the ground and getting growth through word of mouth. But you mentioned that he figured out how to scale. What did he actually do to scale it?
So the cool thing is that now he's starting to get known in his town for doing this stuff, and he gets approached by another high school kid a couple of years younger than him. In fact, the guy is still a sophomore in high school right now. But this is a bright kid who is a coder. He knows how to build stuff with programming. And he said, look, you look like a guy who gets stuff done. I want to work with you and help you build out your app, maybe for some equity. So he gave him some equity, and this kid has built out basically an entire back end to managing all these different high school employees, or contractors rather, through this back end system, and it all happens through text message. So this guy figured out how to, in a predictable way, run ads, let's say on Facebook or Instagram, really hyper-local ads for chores basically to get done. And somebody texts for a job to get done. You're guaranteed to get a high school kid who lives within 2 miles away from you to go do a chore. You don't have to go and choose who that person is. And they charge a fixed rate so that, again, you know exactly what you're paying. The high school kids know exactly how much they're going to get paid. And it's easy to replicate that process. And now they're expanding to multiple cities.
Wow. I love this story because first of all, other than the fact that it makes me feel like I was a completely lazy fool in high school, but more importantly, that this person took advantage of, first of all, just kind of hustling and working through high school, but also seeing that it could be something bigger by doing the work. A lot of times, you have to actually get into the thick of something in order to start seeing other opportunities. But a lot of people, when they get too into the thick of things, they kind of have blinders on, and they might think, oh, I need to get more people to hire me to, mow the lawn, or, okay, I'll hire one employee to help me do the jobs. But this person then kind of zoomed out, saw a bigger opportunity, hired a bunch of people to contract it out, and it sounds like he focused on the marketing and then ultimately making this a bigger business and into an app where you can actually create a marketplace now for this.
Yeah, and it's funny, he even realized small operational tweaks. For example, he asks a question when high school kids apply to work for him. He asks this one question, which is, when you walk in the door to a client, what's the first thing that you say? And the funny thing is, it's really telling about how that high school kid thinks about customer relationships. Some of them say really weird, outlandish things, and he probably won't hire those people. So he even figured out how to vet employees really easily. But there's multiple times throughout the evolution of this business where he could have said, you know what, this is not an interesting business, I should give up. Why? Okay, well, do I want to run a landscaping business forever? No, he could have easily given up. But no, instead he saw opportunities to go into other types of markets. Somebody could have came to him and said, well, what you're doing is exactly like TaskRabbit. Why are you even doing it? You can't compete with them. That's not the point. He doesn't need to compete with them. He told me himself, TaskRabbit was worth hundreds of millions of dollars at some point. I don't know what they ended up getting bought for, but he doesn't need to be worth that much. He just needs to build up enough value where he can sell the business at some point. And guess what? He already has differentiating factor. You're hiring high school kids, not some random person who lives somewhere in the city that you don't know. It's a high school kid to do the chores for you.
I think this should be motivating for everybody because there was no silver bullet here. There was nothing magic about what this particular student did. I mean, yeah, okay, he's obviously a go-getter. He's 17 years old and he's already in college and he already has a business that he's trying to grow and sell. But at the same time, there was nothing magic about it. He went in and built relationships in the community. He went through and actually did the hard work. And when you ultimately put yourself out there, when you start doing the work, if you're willing to put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, things will start flourishing and things will start happening from there. But you have to start.
That's it for our 5-minute pick-me-up, and we hope that this story motivates you to start on that business or take your business to the next level. Even if it's not the most revolutionary, high-tech, innovative idea in the world, it can become something meaningful for you and your community. Have a good one, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye.